Nunca fui muy fan de los musicales, pero debo decir que alguno que otro vi La novicia rebelde, cuando salió Rocketman salí emocionado de las salas, pero desde que conocí a Lin-Manuel Miranda y lo que hizo con Hamilton me cambió la forma de ver este género. Estaba ansioso por ver en su momento En el Barrio o In the Heights, ahora estoy ansioso por ver Tic Tic Boom. En este caso hablamos con la directora de fotografía de En el Barrio sobre cómo fue hacer esta gran película, sobre los desafíos técnicos. Hablando de desafíos técnicos, hay un pequeño spoiler alert que tiene que ver con que no tiene la mejor de las conexiones o no tuvo la mejor de las conexiones, así que tengan paciencia, pero presten atención porque de verdad es muy interesante todo lo que cuenta en torno a cómo fue construir esta gran película llamada En el Barrio.
We now return to Mira Akien and Contré with our latest interview.
John said, while we were in the middle of prepping the movie, he looked at Chris and I one day and he said, guys, do you realize we have spent our entire careers working for this moment, that this movie is sort of the culmination of what we love. We love music, we love dance, we love musicals. And so I think bringing that love and telling a really intimate, honest story about Usnavi and Vanessa and Benny and Nina and Sunny and Graffiti Pete and Abuela and the Salon Women and bringing a real authenticity to them and then bringing spectacle. And so there was like this mix of feeling these very real moments and then this huge spectacle.
No story?
All right, everybody sit down. It's a story of a block that was disappearing.
Each of the love stories is like shot in a different way or like treated in a different way. If this is correct, can you tell me how was defining them?
So the love story with Vanessa and Usnavi, we have these two oneers. They're the only oneers in the movie. And the first one is outside of the club. And we're circling around them while she's telling him to go away, that she's done with him. And she walks away. And then the last one is in Champaign, where it's all a single shot. It's, I don't know, 3.5 minutes long. And it's a single shot in a real location in Washington Heights. It's Abuela's apartment and it's empty. And they did live singing for that. And we just kept moving around the apartment with them. And it was, so the camera was choreographed with them. They didn't dance, but the camera was really choreographed for that number instead of the dancers, actors. So whenever they don't connect, we sort of like kept going. We would do these oneers where the camera would pass off to one or the other. And then Benny and Nina is surrounded by lens flares. So the sun, the George Washington Bridge is almost always behind their scenes, like when you're home and even though you can't see it, even in Benny's dispatch, the window right behind where you're getting a lens flare on Nina is where the George Washington Bridge actually sits, and you can see it if you just step to the middle of the sidewalk. And then of course it ends with when the sun goes down, when they're dancing on the building, and there's the George Washington Bridge. Yes. So each love story has its own visual language for sure. That was 4 or 3, I can't remember how many days it was anymore, of the hardest days of my life, because it was so many people and the weather was just not cooperating. We had rain most of the time. And if it wasn't raining hard enough, we'd shoot towards the pool. If it was raining too hard, and sometimes we wouldn't shoot at all. So if it was raining really hard, we could still shoot underwater though, because you didn't see the raindrops. Yes. So we had to be really, really flexible. And they're also just, it's a huge location. Swimming pools are the largest swimming pools I've ever seen in my entire life. And they're actually in Washington Heights. You can take the same path that Benny and Usnavi and Graffiti Pete and Sunny take to get to the pool in the bodega. And so it was just, it was super hard, but in the end, so rewarding.
When you're on your own and suddenly without me, will you forget about me?
We started talking about that on day 1 of pre-production, and we ended up, and it was the last thing we shot in the movie. So So it took about 5 months of planning, and we'd spend our lunches doing it once we started shooting, or after work, on weekends. Like it was a constant thing, and it took every single person's brain power on the entire crew to make that number happen. Hair and makeup and wardrobe had to find hairstyles and wardrobe that wouldn't give away the gravity of the world. I mean, it was really, really like everything down to what kind of earrings Nina was wearing. Everything was so meticulously planned and discussed between everybody. It was so much fun, and it was a huge lighting challenge for me, because we shot on it. The way it works is, I don't know if you've seen the behind the scenes, but there's a big stage floor, just like horizontal, and then there's this one vertical piece where the fire escape is, and Nina and Benny are sitting on it. And when he braces himself on the fire escape, the wall starts to tilt, and she at that point is sitting on the window, so you can't, and he's able to hold himself, and then the wall is flat. And we realized we did this whole motion capture thing, where during pre-production, where we actually were able to go into a virtual world, a VR world, and see try the different camera moves. And we realized the first camera move had to be the longest, and the last camera move had to be the longest, because otherwise it would feel like we locked the camera onto the set. And because we couldn't do that, the camera had to move at the perfect timing as the wall. And the lights also, we had a sky source that had to change we had this sort of arc of lights that had to change from the top to the bottom. And then we had a big sun source with grips on a big crane, pushing it and moving it so that the shadows on the building wouldn't change either. Yeah. So it was all very tricky for me, but tricky for everyone else as well.
Gorgeous. Tell me something I don't know.
Stephanie is amazing. The energy, I mean, I know her mostly as Carla, not from Brooklyn Nine-Nine now. So so I don't know if the energy that she always would bring to set was because she was just playing Carla, but she's just so vibrant and alive and cheerful and warm and wanting everyone to be incredibly happy and excited, and she's grateful. She was every single person wanted to be on this movie. Everyone had this gratitude for being there. And then, one day we shot this scene Carnival, and we only had 14 hours to shoot it in one day. And she had a ice cream truck come at like 11 in the morning and stay till like sunset. So everyone could just go eat ice cream all day long. And it was parked right outside the building. And just sort of that spirit of we're all in this together is something she always brought.
Let's have a carnaval del barrio.
I read that this was like quite emotional for Lin-Manuel.
Yeah, it was emotional for Lin-Manuel. It was emotional for so many of the dancers. Every single flag is represented somewhere in a frame in the movie, and it really is the heart of the movie. When we finish the movie at the end and get all the color balance, and I started with that scene, and I said to the colorist, I'm like, this is the heart of the movie. If we get this scene right, we'll get the rest of the movie right. It is, every time I watch it, and I've seen the movie, I don't know, 100 times now, I cry. I mean, it is just such a powerful moment. And it was, and the day that we shot it also was just when Lin was crying, everyone was crying. It was quite emotional.